it looks like Mykelti is calling BS when it comes to Gwendolyn's claim of, I guess, abuse when it came to Kody.
Spanking.
Well, not abuse, but I guess excessive spanking when it came to Kody. But let's go ahead and talk about you guys. It is Mary.
And I'm
We invite you guys to like
subscribe.
and comment down below, and do not forget to subscribe to our Patreon, you guys, so you guys can catch our live watch parties of Sister Wives and for other exclusive juicy content, you all. But let's go ahead and get into it, you guys. We are officially on Mykelti's Patreon, and she was doing a live, I guess, on the Sister Wives season 18 episode 12 watch party. And I guess a commenter had asked her about Kody maybe allegedly being abusive to them or whatever, and she snapped, honey. Well, it seemed like she kind of snapped a little bit. Seemed like she got a little bit.
Yeah, she called.
She seemed like she was, basically called BS.
I mean, she was trying to differentiate that spanking is not abuse. Spanking is normal parenting.
Yeah.
And that's what she said. In fact, so she said spanking is normal parenting, and it's not abuse. Let me see.
Yeah. But
I
then
really want to say what she said. I mean, you can go ahead.
Yeah, but
Okay, so she says, to spank your kid when they bite another kid on purpose is super normal, right? They're not spanking hard to cause bruises. And she said that Kody never hit them, especially with paddles. So he never did, especially with paddles, didn't beat them with paddles. And that's just a bunch of BS. And we remember when Peyton had said in that interview he did, I can't remember with the guy he did it with, but
John
he had
Yates
said,
or something.
Yeah, he had said that his father beat him several times with paddles. So I guess Mykelti is calling BS on it, and Gwen had said that her father spanked her and left bruises.
Yeah.
So.
On several occasions, she did say.
So, but Mykelti did not. My thing, and I guess we're going to talk about Tony in a separate video.
No, we're definitely going to talk about Tony, but I just want to quickly say this, because we're not going to talk about all of it, but we're going to just talk about this little tidbit. Now, Mykelti was very clear. She did not go and say, she didn't go and get into detail about the commenter. But Tony goes.
She didn't say her sibling's name. She didn't say what sibling she was referencing.
But Tony, in this nice, comfortable gaming chair, sat back and said, "Well, I think she was talking about Gwendolyn. I think she's saying that Gwen has some misinformation.
Remembers it
wrong or whatever.
Remembers it wrong.
And she specifically ignores him and talks about David's kids.
Yeah.
I just want you guys to hold on to that tidbit, because we're going to talk about it in a separate video. I don't know if we're going to put it on here or on Patreon, but we're going to talk about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't feel like she should be trying. Maybe you don't think it's abuse, but some people will think that it is abuse, especially if it is leaving bruises. So I feel like she should.
Gwen. And how do you know it never left bruises, Mykelti? Were you with Gwen 24/7? Like she's older than Gwen.
I feel
and
like
Gwen wasn't hanging with you older siblings, right? They were at a different group. She was hanging with like Isabel and there are another level, Gabe and Garrison.
But also the thing is, you also weren't even that close to your siblings, from especially the older ones, from what I remember, because you said that you were kind of like not ostracized, but like you didn't get along with the older siblings because they weren't nice to you or whatever. That's what I heard or whatever.
So you did not get along with your older siblings. So you weren't really that also close to your younger siblings.
You were kind of like doing your own thing.
So how do you know that it's BS to them? You know, siblings remember things differently in the same family. Like I come from my family, I consider it large. We have 5 siblings. So yeah.
I feel like you need to just be respectful of what it is.
Especially when it comes to what someone thinks is abuse to them.
Yeah. Yeah, because it might have definitely been a lot harsher and everything for them.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe they had a worse experience. Because Mykelti, you also, yes, you were one of Christine's children, but you also remember that Gwen, I feel like, probably had the brunt of it. Because one, she was autistic. And then also, even Christine said that Kody has always had a really
hard time.
difficult time being, having a good relationship with Gwen.
Right.
I mean, yesterday he never got along with his daughters. But you always talk about how Kody was a great father to you. Gwen says she has never had a memory of him being like a great father to her.
Yeah.
So it's completely different. So I feel like for her to go on her platform and to kind of erase it, I get that you don't want your father
And
to
to
be
say
looked at
that's-
as an
yes.
abuser. I
Right.
do get that because that is
Yeah.
your dad or whatever.
Yeah.
But I feel like you have to respect where your sibling is coming from. But I also feel like, Tony, you, bruh.
Yeah.
You are a whole different
the other
video.
thing too, though, with Mykelti, I know she's calling BS, but I'm also like calling BS on her. If Peyton says that he was paddled several times, where were you? You didn't see this.
Oh,
And
you
if
her own
Peyton
thing.
was paddled several times, I'm sure others were paddled several times too. Like, listen, there was a time when that paddle was the go-to method of spanking kids. Like it just was. And, people didn't know better and they used that. I've never used a paddle. I've never owned a paddle.
Yeah, no.
I don't even know how one will look because I'm wondering, is it the paddle that you paddle the boat with?
No, I think it's
Is
like
that
it's
like an
actually. I
actual
think it's
paddle?
like
Like, is that what you're talking about?
I think it's a thick kind of like wooden board that's kind of like square, and then you just like have the wooden stick, like
Oh,
That's what I think it is.
Okay.
like it's actually a paddle made just for spanking. I think. Not that well. The only way that I know is from the crime shows that I've been watching.
That's why I was looking at her. I was looking.
Listen, there's a
I was
whole.
looking at Mary. I was like thinking, well, where do you know where the paddle look?
Well, I mean, listen.
I'm thinking about the boat. Like the boat you be driving.
Listen, I've watched cult shows. I've watched shows
Okay.
about murder. I've watched
Right.
crime shows. Like
Right.
I think I was watching
Actually,
Evil Lives
now
here
that
last
you
night.
say it, I think when we were watching that thing about that Warren Jeff.
Yes.
Did they show a paddle?
Yeah, they were showing
Okay,
all
because
that
now when you
stuff.
explained it, it's like coming to my mind.
I
So
used to
think-
watch all those shows because I always used to watch. I watch these shows not because like I'm crazy or anything, but
No,
I
some
watch it
people
so
like
that
that
I can detect red flags in people, so I can be aware of what somebody is.
I never watch these kinds of shows. Like because I'm too
No,
scared.
because
Like,
my thing is, I feel like because sometimes I can be a little paranoid. I want to make sure that
like-
people are they're screwed on tight. So that's why I watch the shows, so that I can watch out for red flags in other people.
Right.
You can never be too aware, especially when you're living in America. I feel like I got into it when I was in college.
Yeah.
And I was kind of like living in an apartment.
Yeah.
I was kind of like low key, kind of by myself, not really.
Yeah.
But but yeah, that's how I got into it.
scary thing to watch during that time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm not into those shows. I'm more into romance, comedy kind of thing. But
Polar opposites sometimes when it comes to the TV
when it comes
shows.
to TV shows, yeah. But we click on the sister wives though.
Yes, we do.
But yeah, I just feel like, you just don't know Mykelti. And to see it with your chest, I call BS. Like, I just call BS on some things with you, Mykelti. I just do. I just really do. And I like Mykelti. Like, she was that child that I liked because she's, eccentric. She's my Gemini sister. But I just call BS. Like, you only if, but you know something? I don't call BS. Because sometimes trauma can be or things can look so weird and abnormal to you that sometimes as a child you actually forget it. You bury it really deep so that you don't remember. I recently had something like that with my brother. Like, I was remembering something and he had totally forgotten. And I was like, how do you forget that? But he had totally forgot. So I guess I buried it really deep down. So maybe
You don't want to invalidate your sibling's experience.
maybe
I
she
feel like
did.
that's
So
wrong to
just
do.
don't say that, oh, I call BS. You know how sometimes you're siblings with someone, you just say stuff, you know?
Yeah.
Be aware of that. Like, this is your sibling now and it's an adult. You guys are not just children anymore where you'll just be like, oh, forget whatever you were saying. You're an adult. Like, she's saying that this was her experience now when she's looking back at her childhood. And Gwen is also saying that as far as she's concerned, I don't know what you do, but she's letting you know, okay, that spanking to her is physical abuse. Now, Mykelti, you might spank your kids. You and Tony, it sounds like you guys probably do. Because you keep on saying how
Maybe
this
that's why
is
she got
normal
so defensive.
and it's normal parenting. And yes, for a lot of people, it will be normal parenting. But Gwen is saying, as far as she is concerned, it is abuse. So this
Maybe
is how
the way that she was
takes
spanked was
period.
abusive compared
she
to yours.
takes spanking, as far as she's concerned, it's physical abuse.
And
That's
then-
how she takes it. And we just have to respect that. Just like you want people to respect that your spanking is normal parenting, you gotta respect her stuff
I feel
too.
like if spanking becomes abusive when it's your go-to. Like if
Yeah.
if say your child spills milk, oh you gotta bend over and I gotta beat you today. Oh, you said a bad
Yeah.
word, I have to bend over. You have to
Yeah.
go and I have to beat you today.
Yeah.
Oh, you missed your homework, I have to go and beat
Yeah.
you today. I feel like if it's your constant go-to and you can't open your mouth like
Yeah.
a civilized human being and
Yeah.
have a conversation
With a
with your
child,
child, then it's abusive. Because
Yeah.
it's, to me, it seems like you
There's
just
so
there's
many
no
different
like
things
you
to do.
can't compute how to discipline your child
Yeah.
in another way.
Yeah.
Like maybe it could be abusive, but maybe it could also be like you don't have the tools to be
The
a parent.
vocabulary.
But then again, maybe you shouldn't be a parent if you don't have the tools to discipline your child in other ways. And if you also don't
Yeah.
have the common sense to learn other ways of discipline, you really shouldn't be a parent. Like that's all I'm saying.
I mean,
That's-
there's so many books around and all of this stuff.
and there's so many
But-
people on YouTube who are educating people on parenting. Like, there's really
Yeah.
no excuse for somebody to be abusing their child.
Yeah.
Really.
And yeah.
But
You just
yeah,
said it
but
all.
let's talk. But I do want to talk about two things, which are
Yes.
going to lead into our other videos.
Okay.
But one,
Mm-hmm.
if Mykelti does not consider spanking abuse, then what the hell did Mary do to her that was so abusive? Because if spanking is not abuse,
It's
then
like
what
normal
did
thing.
Like we just have to sit
Like a
down.
lot of people are wondering.
Like, what did Mary
someone
do?
asked her.
And she refused
She
to
said
answer
she
that
would
question.
not answer that.
Yeah.
But it was nice to see her say on this segment that she does wish that Mary's happy.
Anyway,
Like she wishes, that she's happy, right? So that I was happy to hear that. Like okay, while she and I will never have a relationship, right? But I wish this happiness for her.
anyway, but yeah, so
But
we
yeah,
want
but
to talk
everybody
about that.
is wondering at this point then, since you were saying it's normal parenting and all this stuff, everybody's wondering, okay, then if she didn't normal parenting spank you, what did she do?
So-
Did she use a paddle and leave bruises?
Well, we're gonna talk about that
Because
in a different
she did
video.
say it's not like leaving bruises. So
Right.
right there she's saying leaving bruises is maybe Mary
Yeah.
beat them so badly with a paddle and left bruises because evidently a paddle was around the house.
Yeah. But we're going to talk about that in a different video. But
Yeah.
I want to talk about that in a different video. But then also I want us to maybe talk about later on another video. Tony, so comfortable talking about her family.
Oh yes, we gotta talk about
Mykelti did not want to say Gwen. She did
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
So I feel like too comfortable.
that. Yeah.
But we're going to talk about that, you guys. But it's Mary.
And Anna.
I need you guys to like,
Subscribe.
and comment down below. And do not forget to subscribe to our Patreon for more Sister Wife content and more juicy content and more exclusive content about me and Amma.
Yes.
Bye.